to get Meg Clarke on here. Hang on. There's Meg. Hey,
Hooray!
can you hear me
I,
okay?
I sure can. This is so
Cool.
exciting. I'm
I'm
so happy to
so
be here.
happy to talk to you.
I'm so happy.
I have never done a live, so I'm like, okay, how do we do this tech? We're figuring it out.
No idea. I'm so delighted to be here.
I'm
Yeah,
so happy. And it's
yeah.
always fun to talk to you, my friend.
Oh,
So
great. Thank
we've got
you.
a few people joining, which I
Okay.
cannot believe. Like, that's wild, but I'm thrilled. I mean, we've been promoting this and people seem to be excited about it.
And it
So,
works. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I have been trying to, I think we discussed
Mhm.
this eons ago, but I have been trying to figure out a way to like introduce all of the cool people who I know to everybody else, all the other cool people I know, right?
Yep.
And it's like, well, everybody's all over the place and I can't like have a cocktail party. So how do we do this? And finally I'm like,
Here we go.
technology, social media, Instagram live. So
We're,
that's so
we're gonna make it
you're
work.
our first. You're
Well,
my
I'm so honored. Thank you.
well, I'm thrilled. So just to do a little like intro,
Absolutely.
do you want to introduce yourself and
Sure.
tell us? I mean, everybody knows you're an SEO expert. That's why they're
Yeah.
here, because that's the great mystery of all time.
Well, we will like unpack that mystery today, so it's not so scary and mysterious. But yeah, I'm Meg Clarke. I'm the owner and founder of Clapping Dog Media, and I do SEO. I started about 10 years ago as a web designer, and I started doing web design for other, mainly women at the time who had transitioned home from being in a corporate career. And they were starting up a business, and I started doing site design for them. And I did three or four before I realized that a beautiful site and a great product or service doesn't get you much. So I started to learn about SEO back then, like 2014-ish, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, you are like the true total expert. I mean,
Well, thank you.
we'll get into that, but just to say a few of like the other fun things. First of all, I cannot remember how we originally met. Can you?
No, I have no idea. It has been a long time since we've been connected, so
It
I have no
has.
idea.
I don't know either. And not it's not through interior design channels because
No.
I mean, Meg unfortunately does not completely niche with interior designers. She has other clients, and that's okay.
Okay.
I mean, we'll let you. But just to say that, however we met, I'm so glad that we did. First of all, Meg has three boys. I have three
Huh?
boys. So that alone is
Duh.
like
Yeah, there you go.
nothing more needs to be said between moms of three boys. Like, we just get it, right?
We are in the weeds of dirty socks
Oh my
and
God.
buying all the food.
Oh my God. The stories we could tell the world. Like, one day I'm going to get like an anthology of three boy moms' crazy stories that no one will believe. I know
True.
I have more
So,
than a few.
so many.
Um, so anyway, but you and this is one cool recent thing about you, and I know you know what I'm going to say. Meg was on Wheel of Fortune, and she won a trip.
I Banana pants. Yes, I did. That was because I got on. I auditioned during COVID by sending in videos, and I mean, what else did you do during COVID? I watched.
I
I
mean, some
watched.
people bake sourdough.
Yeah,
Meg got on Wheel of
I
Fortune.
got on Wheel of Fortune. I watched David Muir, and then right after Wheel of Fortune came on, they asked me to send in videos, and I did. And so it was like 2 years ago, like this month, that I recorded, and I won a trip to Curacao, which was delightful. So fun.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. See, so do you
Bananas.
see why I want people to know you? Like, you're so fun. It's just so cool.
It was a lot of
Plus,
fun. Yeah. Yours
I can only imagine.
it was great.
Only
But it
imagine.
was silly.
Okay. So they're like, everybody's probably like, shut up. Talk to me about
Yeah.
SEO and how I can get found online.
Sure.
So I just want to say, first of all, that the reason why I connect with you philosophically, and we have
Mhm.
had a few conversations where we're like, oh my God,
Yeah,
there is some shady boots business that goes on with
sure.
SEO sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I just kind of want to say, we don't want to throw anybody else under the bus or whatever, but just to say that I really think that everybody should kind of be cautious, proceed with caution.
Absolutely.
If you're not
Absolutely.
hiring Meg, proceed with caution when it comes to SEO.
Yeah,
But can you kind of, it's hard to give like an SEO 101, but
sure.
can you kind of just explain a little bit about how it works in a nutshell to get interior designers, for example, found online?
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll hit on a couple of points, but SEO basically is search engine optimization, and it's the bridge that connects all of the people that are Googling with your site. So, Google defines search as when trillions and trillions of people are Googling something in hundreds of different languages and all want an answer in less than a second. And so that's what Google's trying to figure out. So SEO is kind of that art and science of
Yeah.
connecting all of the people who are looking with your website.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And like you had mentioned, there's a ton of like, I don't know, scammy, I don't want to say scammy, but kind of make you feel like it's a used car salesman SEOs out there. And SEOs that kind of attach themselves to other products or services like web
Yeah.
design plus SEO or development plus SEO.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really just do SEO. I try to, that's like the lane that I stick in because there's design, there's development, there's writing, there's pay per click, which we can talk about, there's other marketing, and there's SEO. And SEO is kind of the foundation that lies beneath all of that. Because what we want in an ideal world is for you to cleanly and simply tell Google and the world who you are and what you want to be found for. And oftentimes, where you are. If you're an interior
Mm-hmm.
designer, you have a location area. So I want you to be found for a traditional interior designer in, Atlanta, Georgia, if that is who you are. And that is SEO, or the work that I do and other SEOs do, is to figure out what those keywords are, those key phrases that people are looking for. It's kind of data driven,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that it's very apparent and clear on your site for Google to understand that. So when somebody's looking for an interior designer in Atlanta, Google knows to pull you up.
I mean, so well said. And I have like 1,000 thoughts as always. But and this is also why I love you, because you believe in like staying in your lane of expertise.
Yes.
And I really have long struggled with for designers, because so often they come to me and they're
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I just spent however much money on
Mhm.
this website person that said they could do all the things.
Yes.
And now I'm not happy with anything,
Yes.
which I feel for anyone, because how do you know
Mhm.
when you're going to,
It's
get a new website? How do you
tricky.
know? It's tricky. So, but just to say that, I've approached my business where I am in the lane of brand strategy, messaging, copy, like all of that.
Yes.
So I'm an expert in that. I don't
Hmm.
try to design your website. That's a totally different skill set.
Totally
That's
different.
a visual, like
Yeah.
totally completely different. So is SEO. It's
Mhm.
totally completely different. So are
Yeah.
even like paid ads, social
Totally
media
different.
ads. That's
Yeah.
totally different. It's, there's writing overlap,
Yeah.
but it's different applications.
That's right.
So anyway, I just love the idea of hiring an expert in each of those lanes. It just makes sense to me to get the best quality and the best
I
value.
agree. I tend to agree. Yeah,
Right?
I'm finding that one person who can help you with that aspect, and with writing and design and development, it's all really important. But kind of try to figure out who do you start with and where to go. you know it's tricky.
Yes.
I'm in the, let's start with how the data behind what are people looking for, how many people are looking for it, what the competition is like, and then building your strategy foundation there. But you don't have to. You can start with the social, you can start with writing, you can start with the design, but it all needs to be looped in because, yeah, you just want to you want to find those terms that people are actually looking for.
Right. Because here's the thing. I mean, if you don't have SEO and you build yourself this beautiful site, get that built for you and get all this amazing copy, it could just sit, right? So that's marketing, but your visibility is like the SEO,
Mm-hmm.
or a huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, SEO is part of the marketing world, but I like it because it's kind of like investing in your kid's 529. Like
okay,
you
I
work and
like
you put
an
money in,
analogy.
and then it just compounds over
Okay.
time. And so
Okay.
another good analogy is exercise. Like you can work out that very regularly for 6 months, and you can take a month or two off of SEO as an example, and you're still in shape, you're still fit. So SEO is like exercise. You get what you put out in it. You know, the more you work, the more you get. But you can take a little bit of a break. Whereas a huge difference in like pay-per-click ads or social media,
Mm,
the minute you stop is
cut
the minute you stop.
off. Yep.
Nobody finds you anymore. So there is goodness in the SEO, is that you can go on vacation and you don't have to post every day. You don't have to do something. It's going to be okay. Whereas if you stop paying or you stop posting, the algorithm just works against you.
I love that
Hmm.
tip and analogy because it's not something that I necessarily thought about consciously. Like,
Yeah.
of course, and it makes total sense that like your momentum sort of carries you and stays.
Yeah.
You can't drop off
Right.
forever. But no, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned keywords, so we
Yeah.
need to get into that a little bit.
Sure.
And I want to be very specific. As you
Mhm.
said, like interior designers are location specific typically,
Yeah.
even though, and I just want to like eliminate the opposition here. I know most designers like want to design for like the Prince of Brunei or whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your people in your service area are never going to find you if you don't tell them that you're in Atlanta or wherever you are.
That's exactly
Period.
right.
Prince of Brunei will find you if he wants to find you.
That's exactly
So
right.
so you have to tell these people and that are in your area if you want to make money and stay in business. So
That's right.
talk to me about keywords and how that all works
Mhm.
and research and all that kind of thing
Absolutely.
and what they are.
Absolutely. So keywords are really the foundation. It's like
Mm-hmm.
step one
Mm-hmm.
is we like if you had a magic wand, what would be those words that you could be found for? What are those characteristics? What are those locations? What are those words that Google connects with you so that when somebody looks for it, you are the
Mm-hmm.
one that they find? So first of all, I would love for you just to pull open a Google Sheet and just make a list of keywords. I don't care anything about them other than be mindful of what are these words that you would like to use that you want to be found for. And then I
Okay,
really,
let me back you up though.
sure,
Every interior designer wants to be known for beautiful interior design, elevated interior design,
classic,
classic
modern.
interior, right?
Mhm.
We can be too generic,
Yep.
right? So we don't want those on that Google sheet, or do we?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Because I want you to be found for hundreds and hundreds of keywords. I don't want you to be
Okay.
limited by that.
Okay.
And I think there's a space for big, broad keywords like, sorry, my screen's orange. Classic interior design, modern
Okay.
interior design, beautiful interior design. You know, there is a place for that on your site. And so I kind of break keywords down into the big, broad
Mm-hmm.
buckets like beautiful interior design.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's more narrow buckets, which are, um, you know, black and white kitchen design
Mm-hmm.
or black and white cabinets or specific things about like characteristics of a specific room
Mm-hmm.
or a specific style. And so I kind of break them into two different sections. The big broad keywords I recommend, including location words, I recommend you put on your homepage, your services page, your contact us page, maybe an FAQ, like the main pages of your website. And then you use more specific, longer words, longer keywords, if you
Mm-hmm.
will,
Yep.
on your portfolio pages and your blog pages.
Okay.
And so I want all of your pages to be found. But and if you use broad keywords plus location on your home, services, FAQ, and contact, Google's going to read that again and again. They crawl the internet every 2 days. So they're going to like, even though there's so much competition for beautiful interior
Mm-hmm.
design, they're going to read it again and again and again. And then when they connect that to your portfolio and your blog articles that you update a couple of times a month, I would say put at least two up a
Okay.
month, then and they're more specific, more detailed, more focused. Google's going to start building a web in its brain. If it's like it's a web where Google's going to start connecting these very specific keywords with your big broad keywords. And the dream is to have a big, robust, rich web of these keywords for you. Some of them are very specific and narrow, some of them are big and broad. And if Google can start making these connections amongst these keywords, that's how you build ranking keywords. That's how Google finds you for
Yep.
these things. So we want a variety of keywords,
Okay.
and we put these keywords on the page titles, within the content, within links. Like, I love interior designers who say that, you are a modern interior designer working in Pensacola,
Mm-hmm.
Florida, and maybe Pensacola, Florida is a click. You click on that, and that takes you to a portfolio page of projects that you've done in
Mm-hmm.
Pensacola, that sort of thing.
Okay. Again, so many thoughts.
So
But
much.
you said the B word, which is blogging.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
And
Yeah.
I know we freak out sometimes, like
Hmm.
designers freak out. Oh my God, do I have to blog? I don't have the bandwidth, et cetera, et cetera. And I
Yeah.
understand that. But I do want you to talk about that. I know that that is a
Hmm.
prerequisite for you, for your clients to work with you. They must be willing to
Yeah.
blog
They must
and
be. Yeah. Yeah.
talk about why, talk about the merits and why that is so important
App
in the world of SEO.
in the world of SEO and in the world of business.
Yes,
And the world of business. So I think I'm gonna come at this question from a couple of different ways.
please.
I think blogging is wildly important, and it's something that you should really do once your referrals start kind of getting slower and slower. I know most people get their business going and started by referrals, and you're so busy doing referrals and
Mm-hmm.
working them that you don't have time to think about your own marketing. But eventually that's going to start to slow down. And we want you to be found by people who have not worked with you before and don't even know that you exist, but they want your expertise and they want to work with you. They just don't know about you yet.
Right.
That's when SEO comes in. And so blogging is wildly important because it builds you as an expert who has authority in your field. And I recommend that you create new content that highlights your expertise, that shows off the work that you love to do, because that will attract people who are looking for that type of work. And from a Google, that's from a people perspective. People are looking for you. From a SEO perspective, Google ranks different pages for different
Mm-hmm.
keywords. So the more pages you have on their website, the more opportunities you have to put keywords in to be found. So if you have just a 5-page website, home, services, contact, FAQ, maybe one
Mm-hmm.
more,
Portfolio.
portfolio, it doesn't lend a lot of opportunity to be found for a lot of keywords. The sweet spot is ongoing, consistent, high quality content in a blogging slash portfolio space, because then it gives you the opportunity to use keywords that are location specific, that are room specific, that are style specific, that are brand specific, that are type, like wallpaper or floor tiles, or all of
Mm-hmm.
those things that you want people to find you for. that you can do that much more naturally and much more
Mhm.
authentically in
Yes.
a blogging situation.
And to be clear, when you're blogging, like that's every time you create a blog on your site, that's creating a new page. That
Yeah,
blog post is a new page on your site. So then those keywords you've added,
absolutely.
like real estate for Google to find the keywords and whatever, right?
Yes. I work with an interior designer who randomly went viral. It's not random.
Yeah.
She went viral for a blog post that she wrote about tuxedo kitchens, about
Oh.
creating black and white kitchens. And so she listed it it got a lot of notoriety and it got a lot of views because she was talking about the tiles that she likes to use and this specific brand of tile, loved her post and reshared it. And then so she got tons of she got,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't just do kitchens. She prefers to do whole house interior
Yep.
designs, not just kitchens.
Yeah.
But this writing a blog post about how to do a tuxedo kitchen kind of went crazy and she got a ton of work from it. So, you may be thinking, ugh, but I don't want to just do kitchens. I want to do whole home or I want to do new home. It's cool,
That can
but
still
you don't know
happen.
what you don't know how people are going to get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to find you the way you think they are. They're going to find you through various outlets. So write that article about the cool thing that you do in the bathrooms or the cool thing that you do in the kitchen. And you never know who's going to share it. You never know who's going
Mm-hmm.
to see it. And then bring in your next client.
1,000%. And by the way, that's something that I always tell my clients is that if we're blogging, doing social, whatever, taking opportunities to loop in a vendor or a
Huge.
manufacturer can only get eyes on them, right? So if we do it well,
That's right.
right, and don't embarrass anyone.
Yeah, that's exactly
No,
right.
we make
And you're
everyone look
positive and you
smart and
don't like
stylish.
trash them.
Yeah, no, we do it right. But yeah, I mean that's never a bad thing to
That's right.
get more eyeballs because they have the huge
That's
audiences to
right.
begin with, right?
That's right.
Um, so another question
Yeah.
is, when it comes to and you kind of said this before, like you can start SEO at different points, but it is like, let's just say, you're getting a new website, you're investing in photography, you're investing in a copywriter. Is that the time? Like,
Yes.
do I need to, like, is it like throw all the money
Yeah.
right then? Or is it like wait, or what is it?
Well, I've worked with clients at all different levels of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I highly recommend that you bring an SEO in when you're doing this redesign, especially if you have a current site and then you're updating it with content, photos, new design, all the new things. That's when you really want to bring in an SEO because that transition from the old site to the new site is very vulnerable. And a good SEO is going to help you bring all of the authority and traffic that you currently had and bring it to the new site. It doesn't just naturally come. My
Okay.
so I'll give a quick example of how I talk about this is if your current website is like your address and your house. So let's just say your URL is your street address. Every day the mailman
Mm-hmm.
comes and they know where your house is, they know where your towels are. Your mailman doesn't know where your towels are, but just go with me on this.
I mean, you don't know. The mailman doesn't know where my towels are. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
Google
No.
goes to your URL and crawls your site every day. It knows where all of your things are. And it's like your towels, your forks, your bathrooms, everything. And then you get a new design. You don't even have to change your address, but you plop a new house down. Google goes in and is like,
Wait,
what? Wait a minute.
something's different.
Yeah, where are the towels? The kitchen. This is
Okay.
now a bathroom. This used to be a kitchen. And so it has to relearn your website, your pages, your links, and where things go. And an SEO will help you bring the old content and say, hey, Google, we're moving. This is where things are going. And so we can help Google understand more quickly the new website and where things are.
What you
So
really just described is when I reorganize the refrigerator and my husband can't find a damn thing.
where's my butter? I know I have butter. My husband's like, stop buying sour cream. We have 10 of them. Can't find it.
It's just not that hard.
It's not.
Oh my gosh.
So
No,
yeah,
that makes good sense. That makes good
bring in
sense.
an SEO. But then, I certainly have clients who are like, I spent all this money on a new design. I spent all this money on
Yeah.
this new content. I can't afford an SEO.
Mm,
But then because but they did spend all this on it, and then they weren't getting the results that they wanted. And so they're like, what do I do now? I'm already invested. So then you need an SEO to kind of help you tell Google who you are,
yeah.
where you are,
Yeah.
and how you want to be found so that you can start
Hmm.
getting that organic traffic.
Hmm. And I will also say we've worked together a time or
Mm-hmm.
two with clients, and you have liked for me as the copywriter to write the copy first, and
Yes,
then you work with the SEO after
absolutely.
the copy, right?
Yeah, I don't. You can do it either way. You can start with the keywords and then write content, or you can write content and then kind of backfill it with SEO keywords. And I much prefer, I think the content sounds better and more
Yeah.
approachable and more authentic if you start without like these guardrails. So write how you want to write, and an SEO can help you get the
Hmm.
right words in the right places without losing the
Yeah.
voice.
Well, that is truly an art and a science to do that. So I don't think it's every SEO, right? But the right ones, a good quality one like you, yes. So let's talk about pay per click for a second.
Sure.
And I mean, I think a lot of people think SEO is pay per click. So it's
Sure.
part of it, but explain.
Yeah. So pay per click, it's also referred to as SEM or search engine marketing. And it's when you pay Google to be at the top of the search results page for specific words. So you can pay today to be at the top of the search results for best interior designer Atlanta. And that's fantastic. And you pay Google, and every time somebody clicks on that link, you pay. And it's highly effective. It works every time because you spend a lot of money on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Mm-hmm.
minute you stop paying money is the minute you disappear from that
Right.
search results page.
And is it not true that that's where, like on a search results page, you would see like the sponsored?
That's
Right.
right.
So that is not an organic result.
Mm-mm.
It's not, they really are necessarily the best interior designer in wherever.
Right.
It's that they paid. Yeah.
Mhm. And there's a place for it because it does work. It does bring traffic to your site. And if you get traffic to your site and your site's beautiful and engaging and people spend time on it and click around, amazing. That's going to send signals to Google that your site is amazing and
Mm-hmm.
engaging and
Mm-hmm.
people like it and they spend
Mm-hmm.
time on it. So traffic will beget traffic regardless of how it comes. So there is a place for paid, and it works. It's highly effective. It's expensive, and so I recommend it if you have like a new launch, if you're opening a new location, if you're going into a new market, or if you're like, hey, if you can project in like 3 to 6 months you're a little low on clients, spend a little time and effort on your ads for a short period of time to get that ball rolling. But I just because they're wildly expensive, I don't recommend it as a long-term plan. That's where SEO comes
Yeah.
in because it can support that. SEO is expensive in the beginning, and then it like if ads are expensive and then they're just expensive. But with SEO, you invest in the beginning and it pays over time. And my dream from an SEO perspective is I want to tell you like this is what Google looks for. Here's how you get the data behind it. Let me show you like a couple of places to be aware of so that you're not tied to an SEO for the rest of your life or for the rest of your business. Get it set up, get it started right, get it technically
Mm.
correct, and then honestly the rest of it is creating authentic content that really makes you shine as an authority in your field. And so yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my dream is for you to pay, for you to learn for SEO, and then something that you can keep implementing. It's very much like going to the gym. If you've never been to a gym before, it's wildly intimidating. It makes sense to pay somebody, a trainer, to help you walk through the weights, help make sure that you're doing correctly, tell you a plan that's good for you. And then if you do it consistently over time,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need the trainer anymore.
Yeah. So you kind of like want to work yourself out of a job with each
That's right.
client, kind of a thing.
That's right.
That we love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't want you to be tied to me. I will take your money forever. But
very
I think
good.
about 6 months is a really good, if we work really well collaboratively and consistently for 6 months, you're going to see great results. You're going to have a deeper understanding of what to do. And I can back off. And then maybe we just meet a couple times a year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So another situation that you and I ran into with, I had a question for you a few months ago about a designer I was working with,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to rank in a certain market, and they were up against someone, and I'm talking about ranking in the Google search results,
Mm-hmm.
up against someone who had a lot of great press.
Yeah.
And so they were being linked to by like Arch Digest and Elle
Absolutely.
Decor
Yeah.
and all of these big media outlets, right? So can you talk about how getting press helps, and those backlinks, right, is what they're called?
Absolutely.
Talk
That's
about
right.
that for a
Backlinks
second.
is what they're called.
Yeah.
Well, if you think back to what I had talked about a minute ago about how Google defines search. So Google has this giant job of trying to understand these trillions of questions that people are Googling, all at the same time understanding the internet. So it's like understanding what people are asking and then understanding the pages and matching them in less than a second. And it's in Google's best interest to put the best website at the top of the search results
Mm-hmm.
page because they get paid by ads. So if you spend time on the search results page, Google is getting paid by those people who are paying for ads. So when Google's trying to figure out who the best is, it looks at 200 different factors. There's 200 different things that it looks at to figure out who should be the best for
Mm-hmm.
each search. And, it looks like engagement. How long do people spend on your site? Do they click around? Do they read? Does it look like they read it? Like, do they spend longer than 10 seconds on the site? Those are all things that
Mm-hmm.
build into this, what's the best
Yeah.
website? And here's where we get to backlinks. If you have websites or sites like Arch Digest, Elle Decor, New York Times saying this is a great site by linking to you, that's going to skyrocket you because it's like saying, oh, yeah, Arch Digest says that it's a great site. That gives Google a ton of
Yeah.
authority and a ton of trust that that's a good site. So I highly recommend it. If you can get PR and press on your portfolio, do it because if you're going to glean their authority and onto you. So their authority is going to be transferred to you and Google's going to trust you even more.
Yep. Which, I mean, it goes hand in hand with what interior designers want
That's
anyway.
right.
They want the good press. And so it just
That's right.
helps all the way around. So
Yeah.
I typically tell my clients getting published nationally probably, oh,
Amazing.
do you have somebody coming and talking to you
Oh, no,
right
no.
now? Oh, I thought you
No.
did. Um, getting published nationally might not actually get you hired locally,
Right.
but getting published nationally and getting linked to could get you found by a local
Yes.
client, kind of thing. So you just
Absolutely.
never ever know.
You never know. And people
Never
can
know.
do their due research. So even if it's a referral, even if a friend told a friend or told a friend about you, that person's going to research you. And if they Google you
Yes.
and they see that you showed up in a national publication and that you're found for these high quality keywords, like if you're found for top interior designer or interior designer in location,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to give them more credibility, that more trust
Mm-hmm.
in you because you're not
Mm-hmm.
just this random person. I'm sorry if you hear that.
Oh,
That's
what you do
yeah,
have is your dog.
it's my dog. She's growling. It's just that it's so tough here on a Friday.
Life is hard for those office
I
dogs.
know, I tell you.
Um, what was I going to ask you? Oh, you said you were talking about engagement and like time on a page and that kind of thing. And that's kind of where I have crossover
Sure.
because I am writing for not only the ideal clients of my interior designer clients, but I am
Sure.
writing also for Google in that regard. And so I'm being mindful of, exactly what you're saying. Yes, I want that whole experience on a website to be amazing for those prospects and potential clients. But I'm also thinking if that experience is amazing, they're staying longer. And that's communicating something to Google. It's telling Google, if you have those interactions more and
That's
more, it's
right.
telling Google, this is a good site. Google was right to serve this result for
That's
that
right.
keyword. Keep that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely thinking about those things when I'm creating a website. If you're writing, however, generic vanilla content, and
Right.
everybody's like, yeah, I don't read this. Because I do get asked that question a lot. Oh, I don't want a lot of copy
Yep.
on my website because nobody reads it anyway.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
yes and no. And my
Yes and no.
answer to that is, and I'll have you address Google, my answer to just from a prospect's point of view, no, if it's generic and bland and the whole experience is kind of blah and vanilla.
Yeah.
But we
That's
can
great.
make it exciting and inspiring and readable and goosebump inducing. And that's what I do.
That's
So,
exactly what we need. And yet these are engagement factors. And engagement, even though there's 200 factors
yeah.
that Google looks at, engagement is kind of a bucket that is wildly important. So the internet average for time on a page on a website is 10 seconds. So if you can get people to spend longer than 10 seconds on your site, you're sending positive signals to Google. In that same engagement bucket are clicking on links and scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get people to spend longer than 10 seconds, scroll and link, you're telling Google this is a great answer to whatever the search query was. The engagement is high. And this plays a lot into content. Like we want content that makes people read it. Spending 10 seconds on a site, that seems like a no-brainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can link from one article to the next, or one portfolio of a bathroom to another
Yes.
example, like that link
Yes.
helps. Put content with photos and content and photos to force people to scroll. Like it's content, it's design, it's designing and writing with SEO in mind. And that stuff you see all the time, it comes very naturally. And if you can get people to do that subconsciously, to click and to scroll, you're just going to feed Google positive
Mm-hmm.
results.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Google is trying to encourage a really good human experience on websites.
That's right.
They don't always get it right. And
Right.
there's also a lot of ways to like take the algorithms and like try to create it into a more robotic experience. And so that's where it goes wrong. But
Right.
if we try to stick to the bucket of let's make this an amazing human experience, then we're also making Google happy. So
Exactly.
I
And we're competing against TikTok. Like
correct.
people are looking at TikTok and YouTube and Pinterest as search results. And so Google is trying to answer all of that by providing high quality results in their answers. They don't always get it right,
Mm-hmm.
but and it is in Google's best interest because they want that ad money. They don't want to give it to TikTok.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not a Google product. TikTok
Right.
is not.
Right. So
Yeah.
it may often feel like Google's the enemy, but and sometimes they are, but they're trying really hard. They want the best answer at the top of the search
Mm-hmm.
results. That's in their best interest. And so trying to figure out what those engagement factors are and designing and writing towards that is
Mm-hmm.
beneficial.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So just as a specific example, what is your thought about the homepage that's kind of like just a big bleed image and enter to enter the site? Is that like a don't do that? That's bad for Google. Yeah.
It's really hard for Google because there's no words. Google's super smart, but it cannot see and give value to a photograph. And so you need content and to provide context to that image because Google's like, this is a JPEG
Yeah.
or a ping. It has no value, and like it's cool if people go in and click, but how many people see that image and leave? And that is terrible for an
Right.
engagement rate. And there's nothing to scroll through.
Right.
So it's like you're putting all of your money in that bucket that people click enter, and people don't want to because
right?
people, we have the attention span of
Right.
goldfish.
And it's those extra
Yeah,
clicks that kind of
it's
act
work.
like speed bumps. Yeah. So again, not the best human experience with a website,
Right.
even though I think a lot of interior designers are like, ooh, it's cool, it's different, it's unique, I like it.
Yeah,
Well, it's different because it's not the best experience for your prospects.
that's
So
exactly right.
let's stay away from that. Thank
Yeah,
you. So I'm going to
for
put you
sure.
on like my speed dial and have you talk to my
We could
clients who
just
want
make a
that.
video. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
right.
Don't
I'll
do that.
just put my phone on. Here's Meg telling you not to do that.
Don't do that.
So, how will people know? Like, let's
Mhm.
say they do a 6 month, gig with an SEO. How will they know if their SEO efforts are working? Are they going to see that ROI or
Yes,
not?
they should. Yes, they
Okay.
should.
And
The
translated
things
to
that,
people coming to them and inquiring.
yeah, you should have an increase in ranking keywords. You should have an increase in organic traffic or traffic from Google, and you should get highly targeted, like good prospects coming through your contact form saying, I found you from Google. People that you don't know, brand new to you.
Yes.
That should happen within
Yep.
6 months.
That's really the dream, I think.
Yeah.
Like when the first time you get a person coming to you that nobody, you don't have anybody in common, they don't know you, they found you by Googling, is like, oh my gosh, I'm showing up.
Yep, that's when you crack the champagne.
Yes, I
That's
like it. I
exactly
like
right.
a reason for
That's
champagne. I'll take it.
exactly
I'll
right.
take
That's
it.
that's right. And so when we start getting people finding us, it's wide open. It's not now you're not dependent on your network. It's not dependent on your last job. It's free. Your website's working for you, and
Oh
that's the
my
goal.
gosh. That is something else I need to record you saying because yeah, I think people don't always understand that your website isn't supposed to just sit there and be like a, book
Mirror.
of your work. Yeah.
It is
It's
not
supposed to do heavy lifting in your business.
It is not a mirror to show you how great you are. It is to talk. It is actually not about you. It's all about serving your clients
Yes.
and your prospective clients.
Uh,
If
yes.
you look at your
Love it.
website and you're like, "Oh, I am so great," it's probably not a great sales
Correct.
website.
Correct. I say all the time, it should be centered on your clients. They should see themselves.
Yes.
They should get on your website and go, oh my gosh, they understand me. They
Mhm.
get me. I'm emailing them right now,
That's
filling out their form
exactly right.
right now.
It is not about you,
No, it's
unfortunately.
not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, what else did we not cover? I want to take questions. I don't know if anybody has questions, but what did we not cover that we should cover? That's sort of the basics.
Hmm. I don't want my dream is for people to feel
Yeah.
empowered with SEO
Yeah.
because there's millions of people searching. There's 8 billion Google searches a day. There are people who are looking for your services, but they can't find you. And it's not wildly expensive. It's not crazy technically hard. It's just, I want you to use your magic wand and figure out who you are and how you want to show up and then show up that way. And it is not separate than, it doesn't have to be separate than all your other marketing. It can just build your other marketing. So how you show up on Instagram, how
Mm-hmm.
you show up on Facebook, how you show up on Pinterest should also be reflected on your site. So if somebody sees you in all these places and they Google that, they find you. So it's not something that you do over here in a corner and just hope it's successful. It's the foundation of all your other marketing. And so I want you to feel encouraged and empowered that all of the effort and thought process that you've put into these other channels can be applied to SEO.
Awesome. We have a question, and
Oh,
it's
yay.
my wonderful client, Melissa of Shades of Grey. So she's saying, do you have to keep updating your SEO with every blog post or new content you post? Does
It's
that
a
make
great
sense?
question. No, no. So my vision for you is that there's like, you build the foundation for your main pages. Like you say, Google, this is who I am. This is what I want to be found for. Here's my stuff. And then that's your big, broad keywords like top interior designer, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then your blogs, your individual pages are specific about a topic, a place, a fabric,
A
you know,
project.
a project, very
Mm-hmm.
specific. And if you if you can create a high quality, high value piece of content that answers questions, that gets people to scroll, that gets people to engage, then that's kind of enough for that page. That page is going to be filled with, when it's specific about something, it's going to be filled with good keywords because it can't not.
Yeah,
Because
just naturally based on what you're talking about.
yeah, and how you want to show up. So it's not something that you need to redo. It's just something that you need to consistently do. It's like working out. You don't have to make a new workout every time. You just kind of need to show up at the gym.
Yeah, the thing that we don't like to do.
It's not hard, but it's
You do
simple.
have to actually
You
do it.
have to do
Yeah.
it. You don't have to do a whole new, like, different routine every day.
Yeah.
You just need to show up and
Yeah.
just take one foot in front of
Yep.
the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's saying, got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I love that too, because like we were talking about, sometimes SEOs they're not always our people. Sometimes
Right.
they are.
That's right.
But it's not having to reinvent the wheel every time, especially for interior designers. Like that SEO initial research and those big keywords and even some of the small ones can be evergreen. And I do want to say too that, we talked about how, you use them throughout your content, but you also put your SEO keywords, what I call under the hood, on your website.
That's
Right?
right. On the back end
So,
for Google to read.
yes. So that kind of stuff is hidden from like the site visitor, but there's a couple different places under the hood in the site, right, that you can put those keywords. Can you talk about quickly where those would be?
Sure. And it's different they're found in different places based on different platforms. But Facebook, WordPress
The
and
other ones.
Squarespace.
Yep.
Typically, in WordPress, you have a plugin often called Rank Math or Yoast. In Squarespace, there's SEO settings. So one of the most important places to put keywords are in something called the SEO title. This is under the hood. It's the first thing that Google reads when it crawls the site. So you have an SEO title, which is the back end, and then there's the page title, which is the front end of the article of the page. So
like you name your homepage home, or you name your about page team.
That's right.
But then in Google, for Google, you name it something else.
That's right. So
keyword.
One homepage example, like I would say, is like I would be top interior designers serving, Raleigh, Durham, wherever. And put those main big broad keywords that have tons of competition and tons of volume. That's how I would name the homepage from Google's perspective. Because think of all the pages that are called home. Google doesn't know what a home is. Like, how is it going to find you?
And it doesn't help it like produce a quality result to an inquiry, right?
Absolutely. There's a million homes. Like, what does that even
cares?
mean? What is that for? So then Google has to skip past that and then keep trying to understand what the page is about. If we can, because there's trillions of searches every second, we need to tell Google as quickly and effectively who we are. So it's really helpful in your SEO title to use keywords and specificity of what you want to be found for.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I do want to say too, even as we're talking about, trillions of searches in general around the world, y'all, interior designers do not need trillions of people searching for you, right? Like, and I always like to take it to, in business, like, how many clients do you need a year to make your money, right? Like, that you need to make and that you want to make. It's usually not very many. So how many people do you need to reach, through SEO and get found by, for example? Like, it's not trillions. So you're okay. Let's not let those numbers scare you. Right. This is very possible. So when I also think about you not doing anything, yes, Melissa, only ideal clients. We're working very hard on her only ideal clients and making sure that we make
Lock
that
it in. Yeah,
narrow, and the people who don't make us cry and the people who pay us what we're worth
that's
and
right.
good, kind people and all the things. But all this to say that, like, if you're doing nothing with SEO and Google is skipping over you, what if you did something with
Yeah.
SEO?
What if you did something? What if you tried? What
What
do
if
you
you
have to
tried?
lose?
What if you blogged once a
Once a
month?
month. Yeah.
Could that help get you found a little bit?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
No, I
Tell
think
me
once
if
a
I'm
month
wrong.
is, it all kind of depends on, how much, again, back to exercise, how quickly do you want to see the results? If you are like, I'm in pretty good shape, I don't need a ton of clients, I just want to kind of maintain, and maybe in 6 to 12 months, I might need more, do once a month. If you're like, I have nobody coming in 2 months, in 3 months, I'm making no money, blog twice a week, get on social, reshare. Like, you're going to have to put the effort in. The more effort you put in, it's like you kind of reap what you sow. The more that you do, the quicker the results will be. And you can kind of gauge that.
I
Like, you don't
love
need to
that
post on
analogy.
Instagram every
Yeah.
day if you don't want to, you don't need to grow
Yep.
your Instagram.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
you have to be mindful of that.
Be mindful. Be very demure if you're on TikTok. So mindful. So
Mindful, so
demure.
demure. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. Does
Yeah.
anybody else have questions for Meg? If you don't, it's okay. We can come up with other stuff to talk about, I'm sure. Um, I think, I do think you had said, like SEO it's not like this big hard thing. And
Mm-mm.
I think of it as this big hard thing. Is that because people have made it seem complicated?
I think SEO gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you just kind of need to do consistently. Oh, it's great. Great question.
Yeah.
Length
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 for
for
a
a
blog
blog
post.
post.
Yeah, that is a great question.
It's not something that's crazy hard. You don't have to do anything crazy technical. You just kind of need to show up authentically as who you are. And don't use AI content. Don't use content that sounds generic and flat. But show up as who you are, because people connect with you and they want to buy from you. People are not going to buy from you if they don't like you. So you need to be
Yeah.
you, and your people
Yes.
will find you. Um,
1000%.
so yeah,
Yes.
because your people will find you.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Blog post length.
Length. This has been this is up in the air recently because of AI and the AI overviews. Google is now moving more from a algorithm search to an AI search, and it's not as smart as the algorithm. And so
Shocker.
I know, really. And so before, we would always recommend to write 1,000, 1,500
Mhm.
blog posts that would be like a complete guide to, or a comprehensive look at,
Mhm.
and it would be a really deep dive into things. But recently, as of in the last year, Google can't understand all of those nuances, or the AI can't understand all the nuances. So the recommendation is to break out from those long guides that talk about 10 different things and make those separate blog posts. So 500 to 750 words, if they're about a specific thing, has been really ideal and has been ranking quite well.
Does
If you
it
have 1,000 words to say about it, amazing. Google's response to that question is, they always go back to, if I'm looking to how I tie a shoe, I don't want to read 1,000 words on that. I just want you to tell me how to tie a shoe. So answer the question the best.
don't tell me about the history of shoelaces.
No, I don't
Yeah.
care. And you've seen this with food blogs. Like,
Yeah, it's
oh, I mean,
exactly
you
what I just
can't
thought.
search.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like, I don't care
Go,
about your
go to the
grandmother's.
recipe.
Yeah. And so that's change. That's going to change. You're going to start to see that change for food blogs, where they're going to be short
Oh,
and specific, and it's
thank
going to be a
God.
recipe.
I can't wait.
I know. I know.
Yes, and plays into the shorter attention spans. Totally agree.
Right. No,
Totally
because
agree.
nobody cares.
Right.
We just want it. We just want it. And people only wrote that stuff for SEO. When Google was like, I need 1,000 words to get your taco salad to rank. Like, no, here's
Yum.
just
That sounds
get
good.
tomatoes, sour cream, cheese.
Oh, sour cream. You have that in your
I do.
fridge.
I have 11 of them, according to my husband.
So with blog posts, does it matter? Does it make any difference how many images you use? Fewer images, or does it matter?
Doesn't
Okay.
matter. I mean, I like images because it helps people to scroll. I
Yeah.
like images if it's of your work
Yes.
because it will draw people in.
Okay. Very good. Good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Is there anything else you want people to know that's
No,
imperative?
nothing is imperative. A good way to get started if you've never started is Google. Google around. Google your favorite keywords. Google the keywords that you want to rank for. See who's showing up on page one.
Okay.
Look at them and
Okay.
see what they're doing.
Okay.
See what words they have in their titles.
A question I get a lot too is how do I know like interior designer A wants to know what keywords interior designer B is using. Is that even possible to figure out really? Or is that more like you need special software that crawls it and pulls them?
I use that special software
Yeah.
to help my clients. Now, you can, investigate around, start Googling, see what they're found for, Google their name, but it is a lot harder to do if you don't work with an SEO. The tool is called, there's lots of tools out there, but I like one called SEM Rush,
Yep.
SEMrush.
Yep.
It's wildly expensive.
Yes.
So I don't recommend you buy it. I recommend that you work with an SEO and
Yep.
it'll be cheaper for you.
Yep. That's, kind of like a word to the wise consumer as well,
Yeah.
that is a big reason to hire SEOs. It's not just for their knowledge, but it's their access
The
and their
data.
knowledge of how to use these tools. Because as you said at the beginning, this is all very data driven. Like,
Yeah.
okay, how do you find the data? How do you analyze the data? And what do you do with the data?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
So how can people work with you? What does that look like?
Well, great question.
You kind of
Um,
described it in your 6 months kind
yeah,
of thing.
I work with clients typically 3 to 6 months. 3 months if we're just kind of getting you off the ground. 6 months to build a very good elaborate strategy. It's a monthly retainer. Highly collaborative engagements are the best. So I force clients to meet me once a month, but if we can
Oh my gosh, how
meet,
awful of you.
I if you have time, if we can meet every other week, it turns into a highly effective strategy. And yeah, you can check out clappydogmedia.com and check it out. That's my done for you. So I like where I kind of do everything for you. I also have a done with you program called the Search Party. That
Oh, I don't think I knew about this one.
it's
The
new. It's
search
new. It's
party.
I think it's probably
I
called
love
SEO
that.
Power Hours on my
Okay.
site now, but we are rebranding it. I'm getting pictures taken with disco
Ooh,
balls because how fun is
ooh,
that?
you are so
But
cool. See, this is why I love you. You're so cool.
it's called the Search Party, and it's like a membership where I have tons of resources, and I'm there to be your SEO guide. I do lessons. It's live. You ask me questions. We have an active Slack community, and that is for people who have more time than money and needs and want to learn about it. So check out clappingdogmedia.com, and then you can go to Power Hours, which is soon to be called Search Party.
Brilliant. Could not have come up with a better name myself.
It's so fun. And
That
so
is the
that's
coolest.
just kind of an ongoing membership, and you can come in and out, get all your questions answered. And so I have a done with you
Yep.
and then a done for you way.
So
Yeah.
good. Guys,
Yeah.
check Meg out. She's so much fun, as you can see, and like just delightful and like knows her stuff.
Thank you.
And of course,
Thank you very much.
full of integrity because that's all we're having in here
Yeah,
is the people who
that's
are
right.
not,
Slim Shady.
there you
Yeah.
go. Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thank you so much for today. It's been wonderful to
Oh my
talk to you
gosh.
guys, and I hope
Thank
everybody learned something.
you. Thank you. I know I did. I mean, I'm over here taking notes and,
Good.
it's good stuff. And I'm going to be like, I don't know. How do I decide? I have to decide between the done for you and the done
The
with you. So we'll
search
figure it
party
out.
is where it's fun.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Love that so much. Okay. Well, thank you, Meg. I hope
You're welcome.
everybody has an amazing weekend and join us next month
Woo!
for another one of
You.
these since I didn't completely screw it up, our first one.
We did great. We
Thank
are like
you
tech
for being the
queens over
first.
here.
I mean, it happened and we had people, so I guess they could hear us and see us and all the things. So yay. So
Perfect.
we don't know who our guest is going to be yet. We've got a few things up our sleeves, and it's
It'll
going to
be a
be
surprise.
exciting though. So
Yeah.
yay. Thank you, Meg. Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
We'll
Take
talk to you
care.
soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.